I came home with a bunch of sunflowers still warm from the shop light and watched them slide right out of my hand when I saw the kitchen sink, two little pairs of arms red up to the wrists, a mountain of plates stacked like a dare. The woman who smiled in public and hissed in private tapped a spoon on the counter and said slow and clipped break one more and you start over. My name is Cole Mercer. I built a company people like to brag about at dinners, but in that moment I was just a dad who realized too late that the worst thing in the house wasn't the mess. It was the silence I'd been ignoring. My wife Nora didn't make it through delivery, our twins did. Lena came out loud and curious. June came out watchful with those big listening eyes for 7 years. I lived split down the middle. 1 foot in a boardroom, 1 foot in a nursery, bottles and spreadsheets, red eyes and red lines. You know what I mean? The house worked because of Marta, the kind of woman who hums when things are right and stops humming when they aren't. And then came Ava, a benefit gala smile, a soft voice that said she knew. Hard roads, she tied a shoelace for Lena. Told June her hair looked like honey in the sun, called them angels, and I wanted to believe I could hand the girls something gentle for once. Belief is expensive when you're wrong, yeah, that happened. Back to the sink, I found the first aid kit by Muscle Memory Hands that can move millions with a signature. Were shaking so bad, I could barely open the ointment. June flinched when I touched her palm. Lena tried to be brave, but a tear slid sideways across her nose. I asked whose idea this was, and Ava said, "Responsibility like it was a dishcloth. You're gone all the time, Cole. Do you want them to be those pathetic rich kids who can't rinse a cup?" I stared at the plates like I'd forgotten my own language. 300 for 7-year-olds. "It's math, love," she said. "We had guests. They were slow yesterday. Today they'll learn the metallic taste in my mouth was shame and it wouldn't go away." That night Marta waited by the stairs with a wadded paper towel and a faint pink smear from June's hand. She didn't want you to see, and it landed like a verdict I had to read out loud to myself, absent, absent, absent. Ava came to my study door in silk and said I was spiraling, that she was grounding them, and I said discipline is not putting a child's face in a sink, and the room went cold. When I heard the word drown come out of my own mouth. I didn't argue after that when I called Noah a friend who tows you off a snow road without a speech. I need cameras every hall, the kitchen quiet tomorrow. By noon, a van rolled in like a plumbing truck. Ava left for a spa. Noah's crew wore soft sneakers and tucked tiny eyes into the house where the shadows live behind books, under a cabinet lip near the pantry. Molding Marta coughed at convenient times and drifted like laundry steam. When it was done, the house looked the same, which was the point. That night, the screens showed me my own life without excuses, Ina's elbows trembling, a bowl slipping the crack on tile, Ava's hand gripping the back of my daughter's head and pushing it into the suds. The small metallic cry that came out of June, and the way she reached before Ava grabbed her wrist and said quiet and flat, "You want to join her? If you've ever felt your blood drain out and rush back hot enough to burn your bones." You know what went through me? I slammed my hand on the desk once and the glass of water jumped. Then I went very still because a man who moves on rage breaks the wrong things. Another truth landed when I opened a drawer and found a little wooden box. Marta placed it there. I'm sure June's diary inside big letters, the kind of spelling that turns your chest inside out. Dad, if you are reading this, please believe me. Simple sentences, clear cruelty, no flourishes, and somehow heavier than any brief I've ever read. That's the moment I stopped trying to manage a storm with an umbrella and decided to reroute the wind. The outside world smelled blood. My attorney Grant came in, smooth and grave. Cole, stability. The board is nervous sign, a temporary delegation, let your sister carry the load, while you deal with, home my rival Elliot. Texted a board member. A photo of my girls huddled on a bench outside a hotel because Ava never called the car. She said she called a streetlight. Spotlighted their coats like a scene from a bad movie. The picture made 10 phones buzz in 10 minutes, and you could taste contempt in the hallways. If he can't manage his house, maybe he can't manage ours. My sister Vivian. Brilliant and thin-skinned, has believed since she was 5 that our dad gave me the sky and gave her a flashlight. Pain doesn't respect facts. It respects attention, and the attention she wanted found her at exactly the wrong time. You know what I mean? So I did something. Some people will call theatrical. I called Grant and told him to bring the delegation papers. I told the board. We'd do a public signing, told Vivian. I was tired and needed rest. I let the tower tilt in public so the people pushing it would lean too hard and show themselves. The conference room looked like a wedding crashed into a press conference. Cameras heavy with judgment. Elliot in a suit that cost more than 3 of his last deals. Vivian in the center seat, like a traffic light on red. Ava behind her, with a dress that whispered when she moved. Grant laying out leather and paper with surgeon calm. I walked in without a tie and let people gasp. I hovered my hand over the pen, felt the room lean in, then said, "Before I sign, watch this." The screen dropped with a little whir I always hated. Not that day. The kitchen filled the wall. The faucet hissed. A child coughed. Ava's bored voice. "Do it right or do it again, then." The dunk a journalist swore. Elliot's shoulders bunched like someone poured ice down his back. Vivian's jaw ticked like a metronome. I let it hang then. A clip of Grant's office at 8:07 p.m. A document sliding a seal pressed with a stamp, meant to make a copy look like an original. A small thing, unless you've been burned by forged consent before. Then Elliot, in a private lounge, passing a heavy envelope to a board member who loved calling himself incorruptible, and whispering until the storm passes, "We all need to be practical." And finally, Vivian in a spa phone to her ear. "He's soft, he'll fold. Keep the kids loud once he signs. We lock it." The detectives waited. They are patient people when the whole room is filming for them. The cuffs went on Grant, and then on Elliot. Vivian left without sirens. Ava tried tears that smeared and hands that reached. I grew up cleaning motel rooms, Cole. I didn't want them to be useless, and I said, "You held a child's head underwater," she whispered. "Just a second," and shrank. And that was the moment I stopped asking to be liked by people who don't like children. Marta stood at the door with my girls. Lena hit me so hard with a hug, it knocked a sound out of me. She didn't say I told you so, she said. "Do you see it now?" June looked me dead in the eye and said, small and steady, "I knew you would believe us that night." I didn't give a speech. I pulled a trash can next to my desk and threw away a stack of appointments with them. Watching calendars change faster than character, but this time I wanted both to move together. The trial was every flavor of loud. Vivian said the things she's said her whole life. Dad praised him for breathing and ignored me for running marathons. Justice doesn't always look like the law, and I told her I forgave her for the wound I didn't stitch because I didn't know it was there, and that I couldn't save her from consequences. She stared past me like a stranger on a train. Ava took a plea. Grant learned what a concrete door sounds like when it closes. Elliot paid fines that would make a small country blush and lost the vote he wanted more than money. We brought sunflowers to Nora's portrait, and I said out loud, maybe for myself, "We are done asking the wrong people to keep us warm. Now we trip over each other in the kitchen, burn pancakes, and the only plate mountain is after birthdays." June writes in a new diary she shows me on purpose. Lena runs court for stuffed animals and always wins. Marta hums again. And when I don't hear it, I go find her and ask what needs fixing, simple as that. Here's the twist. People argue about Vivian wrote me from the facility and said absence is its own kind of violence, that if I hadn't been absent, Ava never gets in the door. She asked if I feel guilty enough to split the company for real. When she's out, not with tricks, but with signatures. Some nights I think about doing it to prove the past can't hold us some nights. I think about the people who work for us and the families behind those paychecks, and I put the pen down. You know what I mean? Justice and mercy don't always sit at the same table without elbowing each other. So tell me where you land. If someone spends years carving at your foundation, do you give them a room later to prove you're not bitter? Or do you bolt the door and call that wisdom? If you saw the sink footage, would you forgive the person who did it? Or leave that to a higher court? If a father is absent and comes back hard, does he get to call himself a good father? Or just a man who finally woke up? Drop it in the comments, argue, push back. Tell me what justice means to you, and what forgiveness has cost you. Say the signs you missed, and the promise you made not to miss them again. And if you're still walking through your own storm, say what you need. Someone here will reach back.